Shirley Brill with Educating Minorities About Transplants. Today is our guest. We have Mr. Emit Newsome. Mr. Newsome is a United States veteran. He used to be a basketball coach, and he's just been so active in his community. With him today is a bunch of his family members. They're muted now, but I felt just like I was at the family reunion. We're excited to have Mr. Newsome, so let's welcome him on now. Mr. Newsome?
Yeah.
Share a little about your military career with us.
Okay, let's start from graduating from college, Lincoln Business College in Orlando, Florida, in July of 1967. That's where I met my sweetheart, Sandra Campbell. And we got married in October of 67. Then I entered the United States Air Force. We were married for like 48 years and had two beautiful kids. I went into the Air Force in Sunnyvale Air Force Station in 1967. And I was stationed there for 4 years to 1971. And I left there and I went to Tokyo, Japan in 71 through 75. Then I left Tokyo, Japan and went to Vandenberg Air Force Base in California from 1975 to 78. And I went remote in 1978 through 1979 at Kunsan Air Base, Korea. Then I left Kunsan Air Base, Korea in 79. And I was assigned to the Pentagon. And I was at the Pentagon from 79 through 1989. From 1979 through 1985, I was with DIA, Defense Intelligence Agency. And from 1985 to 89, I was with the Joint Chief of Staff, J4 Logistics. During my tour at the DIA, I organized a co-ed softball team called the Wild Bunch. And some of them still here today with me still. Thank God for that. But after that assignment, I retired in 89. Then I went into they call, not military, and not the government. I was a contractor. I was with J-Corps in Alexandria, Virginia for about 10 years. Then I left there and I went to Andrews Air Force Base. That was my last assignment, but I was working as a civilian with the Presidential Inn Hotel. I was front desk manager there. And that was exciting. I enjoyed it. I met a lot of people.
And let me thank you for your service. I forgot to do that because you put many years in.
Yes, I enjoyed every minute of it.
So, Mr. Newsome, let us know when you first found out that you had kidney disease.
It was in the year of 2000 at the old Walter Reed Medical Center of Georgia Avenue in Washington, D.C. I had a lot of medical things going on, and they finally diagnosed me with kidney failure. My whole body just shut down.
Was it at that time when you started dialysis, or was it some years that passed?
No, it was 2000 when they put me on dialysis. And that was a wild situation because I didn't want to go on dialysis, but my family persuaded me and prayed for me, and they said I should, because otherwise I wouldn't be here now. So I was on dialysis for 10 years at the Walter Reed Medical Center. And like I said, I was like a bad patient, I guess. Because I pull the tubes out, all that. So, and the nurse, they had to sign me, special nurse to watch me 24/7.
How long between dialysis to your kidney transplant?
The first time was 2 years, 10 years I was on dialysis. That transplant lasted 8 years. And they said it had, like, I don't know what the medical term, what they call it, but it like went bad on me. And then I had to go back on dialysis in May of 2019. So I'm still on it now. So 5 years, I'm still on dialysis, and that's why I'm trying to get a transplant again. The first kidney that I had in 2011 was a deceased donor, and that's why it only lasts 8 years. It's 8 to 10 years average. But I need to go back and get a second kidney where I can get, have a second life again. Because I love fishing and driving, I'm step around. Maybe go back to work, do a little part-time work. Because I like to be outside, at the house.
Oh, that sounds like, ooh, that's going to be fun, huh? So now, since you're on dialysis now, has that restricted your life in any way?
Yes, it has. Because I have to be on the machine for 3 hours, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. So I'm like combined to that machine for 3 days a week. But I look at it as a part-time job and I get up to go. And that kind of helps. And then I usually watch TV and sleep and sometimes talk on the phone. But mostly I take a nap and relax. Because 3 hours go by pretty fast.
What do you feel are some of the barriers that you have in finding a living donor?
Biggest thing is my age, 81. And a lot of facilities, after you turn 75, unless you're in super shape, I guess, they don't want to talk about it. They say, well, you've lived a great life, and I think Dallas is the best thing for you. But I went to Georgetown, George Washington University, and the head transplant doctor there, he told us he don't have no age limit. As long as you're in physical good shape and do what you're supposed to be doing and think you can go through the surgery, he said he'll do it. He just did a 88-year-old patient, and they're doing wonderful. So I recommend anyone who's afraid of like going to see what will happen, make your mind up what you want to do and ask for a living donor. And that way, if they agree with it, you're in good shape, especially GW, Georgetown University doctor, head doctor. He will definitely give you a living donor kidney if you find one. So that's why I want to put the word out. I'm B positive, blood type, and they say that's rare. So if I can find somebody with B type, blood type, B positive, then I'm ready to go to surgery. I've already did my intake. I did about 30 tubes of blood or more. And then they did all kind of other surgery on my heart and everything. So I'm in good shape. I'm ready to go.
And I'm so glad you mentioned all of that, Mr. Newsome. I just admire you because Dr. Callender was on, he was our first guest, and he said the same thing. I don't know if you're familiar with him. He's a transplant surgeon from Howard University. And he said, really, the age is not a barrier. And I know that some people who have been on dialysis for years and they feel like now they're too old because some were like 83, 84. But as long as you can get through that surgery And
Correct.
we know you must be a good candidate because they have you listed, even
Correct.
at the age of 81. It's just a matter of finding the right person who will say yes to your request. So let's ask Nikki to come in now. Nikki is Mr. Newsome's caregiver. Oh, she's scooting that chair over. And Nikki, share with us. It has to be just a joy. You know, when Mr. Newsome first sent his picture in, I was teasing him, talking about he looked just like Deacon Newsome, but he shared that no, I was an usher in the church. So share with us what it's like to be a caregiver for him. He looks like such a wonderful, happy, joyful person to be around, and we know he's your dad.
Yes, it is an honor and a privilege to be able, I call it service, to serve my father as his caregiver. And I would say the hardest part about being his caregiver is seeing him coming out of dialysis, and he's tired and drained. And before he goes into dialysis, you know, he's full of joy, he's bubbly, and he tries to keep that same joy when he comes out. But I know it drains him. But other than that, it's, you know, it's a joy taking care of my father.
Oh, I know that's a blessing.
Yes.
All righty. Is there anything else you want to mention? Now, a lot of people, let's talk about, and we're going to bring them on in just a minute, some of the
Okay.
family members who are there. A lot of people feel that just because you're his daughter and some of the other family members that's going to come on in a minute, one of you should be able to give him a kidney. But people don't understand that there are a lot of things that have to match up. Unless you are, like we say, a twin or something like that, it's seldomly can you get a match in a family. Sometimes it happens, most of the time it does not. Share with us, and I'm sure you've been tested. What was the feeling when you knew you were not a candidate to give your dad a kidney?
It was very disappointing. You know, I didn't even get to find out if I'm a match yet or not, because once you like do the lab work, the coordinator calls you to let you know like what happened, and they're also, you know, checking my kidney function. But now I'm speaking to Dr. Melicon. He's the head surgeon at GW Transplant. He told me go get retested. So I'm going to go get retested this week. So they send me all the information. I'm going to get retested this week. And hopefully things are much better for me now, so I can even see if I'm even a match. So that is my prayer, that hopefully that I am a match for him and we can move forward.
And I know some of the things that a living donor, we have living donors in our group, and listening to what some of them have said, living donors have to be in good shape also. What are some of the qualifications that they mentioned to you? Because you'll have to go through a surgery also. What are some of the requirements?
Like some of the requirements, like health-wise, like no pre-diabetes, your cholesterol cannot be high. You have to even your blood pressure, they want to make sure your blood pressure like is pretty much in normal limits, like you have control of it. And also your kidney function, they definitely are strict on your kidney function. For example, depending on where your kidney function is, once you have the surgery, they take out one of your kidneys. You can live with one, but it like will cut down like half of your kidney function. But where I was, they were like my kidney function would have been too low. So that's why they've been working on me, and preferably my kidney function is, you know, higher now. So hopefully I can go forward. But yeah, that's the basics, is like keep exercising, eating right, and definitely keep your mind right.
Well, thank you, Nikki. Is it anything else you want to say before we invite the family on and they can unmute and maybe ask questions that they may have concerning getting this kidney for Mr. Newsome?
Yes, I want to thank you, Miss Shirley, for doing this interview, and everyone to come on to support my amazing father for this interview. And you did a great job, Dad. Awesome. Proud of you. And, I would say, hey, spread the word for us. We need to get him a kidney, so spread the word for us. And thank you.
And let us know which area you're in. I heard you mention the hospital, but for those who may not know, let them know what area of the United States you're in.
We are in Maryland. They call it the DMV. And George Washington University Hospital is in Washington, D.C.
All righty. Now, let's invite some of those family members on to ask questions, perhaps something they may not know. I'd like to ask them a question. Did any of them get tested also? I've heard some call him Uncle Emit, and I don't know some of the other people on, but let's hear your questions.
My name is Carolyn Slade, and I donated a kidney in 2017 to my sister at Newark Bethesda Hospital. And she's doing well. And I am doing well. So I just want the listeners out there to know that, you can survive with one kidney. And to donate a kidney to a person to extend their life, that's a great thing.
We so appreciate that, and living donors are certainly appreciated, because we encourage people. It's National Minority Donor Awareness Month. So this is the perfect time to have this conversation, to educate people, first of all, and then to spread awareness about the important need of organ donation, especially among people of color. I don't know if you realize it, but we are the ones, and I mean African Americans, Blacks, we're the one with the most need for those kidneys. But we are not as generous as others as far as being a living donor or a deceased donor, because we're still stuck on myths, misconceptions. If something happens to me, then they're not going to try to save my life. I don't know if I mentioned to you, but I am a double lung transplant recipient. Somebody left a set of lungs for me, and those lungs have added 16 plus years to my life.
Wow.
So I feel very devoted to this cause, and I will spread this awareness until thy kingdom comes, until it's time for me to go, because it's just that important.
Yeah.
Until we realize the importance of saying yes to organ donation and saving lives of other people, especially those we love, those that we don't even know. It's just the human thing, I think, to do. Let's take another question.
I would like to find out what is the process of becoming a living donor?
Process to become a living donor. First, you have to meet with the transplant coordinator, and she has to ask you some health questions. Once you pass those health questions, then they will send you next to go to the lab to get your blood drawn. And once your blood results come back, she'll review the results with you. And then if everything looks good, then they'll go to the next step, which I don't know because I didn't make it past that step. But that's pretty much how the process began.
And I know we also have a number if you're interested in becoming a living donor for Mr. Newsome or for anybody else, as a matter of speaking. Then he has contact information where you can get all of that from the center where he is listed. Now, maybe Carolyn, I think it was. Carolyn, can you answer that or give us some more next steps once you go through that initial blood test?
Okay, yes. All of my testing took place in Livingston, New Jersey at St. Barnabas Hospital. And there is some chromosomes that you almost have to have 3 of those for definitely match. And I had 5 of those. So I was a definitely match for my sister. However, in my own family, I was the only one that got tested. And so I'm not sure that, other family members, they can bring those in as well. but only one person in my family ever stepped forward, and that was myself to save my sister. I was more than happy to help save her life and extend her life. So I'm just hoping that there are others out there that know that they can just live with one kidney. So I just encourage people to think about donating, because you can live with one kidney and you can do an amazing job and help save someone else's life and extend that life.
Our next question, please.
I have a question. Does it matter the ethnicity of the donor?
I've heard them mention that if you're Black, it would be more beneficial for you to have a Black donor. But I think what's really important is the match. Has any of the other family members, have you been tested? Or are you interested in being tested?
Are you meaning on Uncle Emmett's side?
On Uncle Emit, yes.
I have talked to I donated to my sister. If I had both of my kidney, I would step up. I would.
Bless your heart. You just have a giving heart because you've already given a kidney away, which leaves you with only one.
Yes.
What if down the road somewhere something happens where you need a kidney?
Okay, so when you donate a kidney, you go on a list with the National Kidney Foundation in Virginia. And within that foundation, if your kidney go bad as a donor, then you will get the first spot as the next donor to donate a living kidney to you. That's what they did with me. They put me on the list in Virginia at the National Kidney Donor. And if anything ever happened to my kidney, I got that information that I can call them and let them know I was a national kidney donor. So you get bumped up to the higher hierarchy of other donors because you've already donated.
And they also have the Living Donor Protection Act that protects those who are willing to give that gift of life while they're living.
Yes, they do. I can tell you that they do. Yes.
Mm-hmm. What's our next question? My understanding of that question that she asked, and correct me if I'm incorrect, is will they replace the kidney that you've given away? And I want her to understand, or anybody else, that you can live with the one kidney.
Yes, I've been doing it for years now.
So they don't go back to try to find somebody so that you'll have two again.
No,
you continue on living with one kidney.
Yeah,
and
living
every
on one
living
kidney.
donor I know goes right back to their lifestyle. Thank you. That was a great question. I know this group is not quiet now because in a minute I'm gonna ask you all to come off of mute. They being quiet now, y'all. You should have heard them before we started recording. And it's so nice to have such a lively bunch of people. And I know, Mr. Newsome, you actually appreciate them all. I was just listening as everybody was gathering, coming in. Mm-hmm. And you sound like such a loving bunch of people. Speaking of signing up, like for instance, when you go to renew your license or first get your license, you're signing up to agree to be a deceased donor is what we call them. When you pass on, you're saying that it's okay. You've made a decision that you want to leave the gift of life for somebody. And what we did not mention is one person can actually save 8 lives with the organs. You can also leave cornea. You can also leave tissue. There are just so many things that can be done. The gift is needed. As a transplant recipient, I'm still an organ donor. When I pass on, they can just have whatever they need that's going to help somebody else. The only thing I cannot give are the lungs that were given to me. But I just believe, even as a teenager, when I first got my driver's license, I agreed to be an organ donor because I'm one that believes that once I pass on, I won't need anything. These bodies to me are earthly.
Happy that you're doing well with your lung transplant.
Well, thank you so very much. And I got a great set because I've never even been admitted back into the hospital. So God has truly blessed me.
Said about you couldn't donate your lungs, but if your lungs are still functioning, why couldn't you donate them?
Well, because they're already, I hate to say used as a matter of speaking, but I've used them and I don't think that they would be safe to harvest them from me and then give them to somebody else. They would probably need a fresh start. And sir, by the time I leave here, I'm gonna get everything I can out these lungs. Ain't gonna be nothing left for nobody else. I'm gonna take all the air in my lungs that I can. But I think that's a rule of the transplant centers. But anything else that's usable, they're welcome to it.
Uh-huh.
Like they say, from the rooter to the tutor, take it all.
I'm taking every breath I can before I go.
That's true.
You know, a lot of times we hear, because we go out into the community and try to educate, and people will self-diagnose. Well, I know nobody will want my liver, or nobody will want this heart, but that really depends on the transplant team. If you make that decision, a lot of times we feel like we're not healthy enough, and maybe you can't. Because one reason why a lot of people cannot donate is because they're not healthy enough. Two of the major causes of kidney disease is, first of all, diabetes, and we know that that is plentiful in the Black community. And the second is hypertension, high blood pressure. As long as your blood pressure is controlled, then that won't even rule you out. So before you just count yourself out, I know they don't want anything out of me. Let them make that decision when it's your time to go. If you'll just say yes, that's fine. You may can only leave your cornea, but guess what? And that's that part of your eye. That cornea can restore sight to somebody who hasn't seen. So there are a lot of ways that tissues are being used also, especially as athletes. Also in breast reconstruction, there are just so many things that you can leave to help people. And that's why you sign up with the DMV to say yes before you leave. And once you do, another important thing is please share that information with your family members. No, I know she didn't say she was going to be an organ donor, but sometimes you just don't know. People have compassion and they say yes. So have that conversation with your family. Even if you decide not to be an organ donor, have that conversation too. So everybody will be clear as to what you want. How many of you are organ donors now?
Yeah, so glad I did it.
I'm glad you did too.
Yeah, I've had no regrets. And if I could do it for my uncle, I would.
Yeah, I'm an organ donor, but like you said, after I pass on.
Yeah,
and that's wonderful.
We both are. Mm-hmm.
I am an organ donor too.
And let me say this, because even by being or signing to be on the donor registry, you do know you have to pass in the right circumstance. For instance, you would have to be on life support and declared brain dead, because they have to keep those organs vital and living in order to place them or harvest them for someone else. And that will eliminate some of the myths that we have. You know, nobody's going to run to the accident scene and see that perhaps you're not going to make it or you're not doing as well, and come and just take your organs. That's not how it works. You have to actually be in a hospital on life support before they can place that or have the surgery to give that gift to someone else. So some of the things throughout the years have just not been true.
Right.
And
I have
until we
another
can
question.
eliminate some of those things, then generation, is sad to say, generation after generation, because we've talked to some, young people when you first go get your license. My mama told me, don't know. No, I can't be an organ donor. So that's why it's very important to educate, spread awareness, and spread facts.
I have a question. I'm not I won't be a person to be able to donate, but I would like to kind of reach out and start helping put in a search for someone who may be interested in donating. So I was just wondering, is there info that you have to give out to people for that you're asking?
My response would still be to contact his transplant center,
Mhm.
and they could give you all the information that you will need about him. Now, I know one thing that a lot of people do. I don't know if Mr. Emmett does that, but a lot of people wear T-shirts. How's the family letting everybody know that he needs a kidney? Is anybody talking about it?
Mhm. Well, what I'll do is I'll speak with Nikki and get information and start doing that. And I'm not able to do it because I have a lot of medical issues, but
Mm-hmm.
definitely able to reach out to help.
And spread the word everywhere, because you
Yeah.
don't know where that potential donor may be. In church, put on your shirt, Emmett needs a kidney. Wear it to the grocery store. Wear it to your community activities, because like I say, you just never know where that person could be.
Yeah.
If you're on social media, post it to your page.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Mhm.
And the good thing about setting up a living donor is it's all scheduled. No one has to die, and that's a horrible thing, because someone died in order for you to continue living. But with a living donor, your surgery is scheduled. So you'll meet there together. That person may have to fly in to where you are, whatever the case may be. But there's no ifs, everybody is synchronized to make that happen.
Shirley, as you stated, the biggest problem is fear, not and uneducated. I'm well aware of the process, close somewhat of the process. I have a nephew or two who's had a kidney transplant. Our family could not, there's 8 of us, could not donate to our nephew. I'm aware that there's as you mentioned, you can be I call it a bank, if you will, on a listing that you can donate. You say, I want to donate, but I can't donate this person here, but there's someone in California, and you can get on a list to do that if you wanted to. One of the concerns is other ailments.
Active cancer
Active
will
cancer,
disqualify you from being an organ donor.
that's the bottom line. It's fear. And I'm glad you stated like you did, you know, you can live with one. You can't live with one. And it's just a decision that you have to make consciously and make your family aware of it. Please make your family aware of it if that's what you want to do.
But like I say, the best thing is to contact his center. They can give you definite answers, and let you know whether you qualify and take the test to see. Because I heard somebody say now that some of these tests are so simple where they can actually just give you a swab and see if you would be a match. But contact his center. That's the answer. Mr. Newsome, Mr. Emit Newsome, do you have anything else you want to mention to us?
No, but like Mr. Andy said, make sure you make your mind up and talk to the Lord about it. And, you know, because my motto is, whenever he's ready for me to get one, I'm going to get it.
Amen.
Don't worry. Yeah, it's all in his hands. And like he gave me the first one, if I deserve a second one, he'll send me a second.
No, I just want to thank everybody and thank you, Miss Shirley. This was great information. I even learned more from what you shared with us too, Miss Shirley. So thank you all so much and just spread the word for us. Love y'all.
Thank you, everybody, and we appreciate you coming to support Mr. Emit Newsome, who needs that living kidney donor. Goodbye, everyone.
Goodbye. Love you all.
Goodbye. Love you all.
Stay strong.
Bye, everyone.
Guys,
God
Goodbye. God bless.
I love you all.